Hey guys, I wanted to glaze this painting. I really like it, but I really want to go along with the practice idea. Since this is a study, I want to do as much practice and get as much out of it as I can. So here I'm going to practice some glazing techniques. So I'm going to use some golden acrylic glazing. This is a gloss. If I want to later matte it, I can just put some matte medium over it, which I have right here, and that will dull it down to a matte finish. So I'm going to use some medium, I'm going to use some Payne's Gray, and some ultramarine violet to add some color into this area of the cloud and maybe some up here, just to make it seem like it is coming towards you more, and so it just doesn't look like it's just all in the foreground. And with glazing, you want to use like the best possible acrylic as you can, like the highest quality of brand, because higher quality has the most pigments. That's why they cost so much. And so when you're thinning that pigment down with some glazing medium or even water, you're just gonna have the more pigment left into that mixture than as if you use some cheaper brand like Apple Barrel. Like this right here, this is like $1 a tube, and for this tub I think it's like 20 some bucks. So you're paying for more quality, and I only really use like the really high quality stuff where I'm really thinning it down like how I am, and I just want all that pigment as much as I can into that painting. So it's just not just the transparent, but it's full of pigment and color. It's just not a transparent, like I don't even know what to call it. It's just not a transparent glaze. It has pigment, has some color. And if it's too much pigment, I can always dull it down with more medium or even more water. So here we go, let's do it. So pardon the people doing their lawn back there, but the golden rule for their glazing medium is you want 1 part paint to 10 parts glazing medium. So really you only need a tad bit of paint. So right here I'm just gonna glob just, okay, that's really much all I need. That might even be too much. So put the lid back on to that. Wipe my palette knife down. And palette knives are always excellent for mixing, especially with fluid form, because it really breaks down that pigment in there. Let me get some of this Payne's Gray. Yeah, that should be enough. Violet. See, just by looking at it and noticing that it is a lot more paint than I really need to, so just put it all over there. Get some of this medium. Alright, now let's mix this violet in here. And if you're not really that used to using the palette knife, which a lot of people aren't, you can always, let me clean this, you can always just use a brush to mix it. Just don't use the same brush that you mix it to do the painting, because you're going to have pigment mixed everywhere. Alright. Oh, that's a nice color. Just mix this batch right here. It's a little darker. Well, I got my 2 glazes. And with alright, so now that we got the painting, and just like any other painting, whether it's oil or acrylic, you really want to make sure this is dry before you actually start glazing. So this has been dry for like 3 or 4 days. That's usually the amount. You can sometimes skim and do about like 2 days for glazing, but it all depends on the amount of paint you put on there. If you have like really hot, heavy globs of paint, that takes a while longer to dry, but you really want it to dry, because when you're glazing, you don't want to be pushing the paint like this this white in with this purple. So for this one, I'm going to use a mixture of a 1-inch flat brush and a 2-inch, I believe. No, this is a 1-inch, this is a 1/2 inch. Yeah. So I'm going to use that and push the paint in there. So you want nice, thin layers. Load up the brush. You want to load up the brush with as much of it as you can. And just put it where it is needed. I know if this is showing up on camera, but there's a lot more purple going into here now. Get some more purple in this mixture, just so you can see. There we go. And as it dries, it'll become even more transparent, and the white will really pop through. We're gonna get some of this blue. The great thing about this is while it is still wet, you can wipe it away. Take a piece of tissue paper. You know, wipe some of that like back in. But with acrylic, you gotta move fast because it will become tacky soon enough. So you got a working time of about like 1 minute or so. That's why some people like doing it in oil, because they do have that leisure of drying time lasting a long time. And I'll put some more blue in here and get some more of this more saturated blue, the blue that wasn't in the mixture. Put it in there. Did that brush. Actually, let me get a bigger brush. Let me blend this in. Now that I'm looking at it, I think I want some more blue down under here. More like a shadow. Don't be afraid to use your fingers and get dirty. And if I really wanted to get a little bit more technical, I can throw some of this. What is this? This orange hue right here. Get a little bit more glazing medium. Mix a tad bit of this in there. Just to get a nice hint of color. Don't worry about getting in too much. You can always wipe it away within that minute. So if you work fast, it's really fun to experiment. Alright, so I'm going to wipe some of this away. In certain parts, just really dull it down a little bit. Alright. Some of this remaining blue, I'm gonna blue and yellow. I'm gonna just put a nice little thing of color in the background. So with these studies, just don't be afraid to experiment, because they are, at the end of the day, just studies. I mean, you can sell them later if you really like them, but don't worry about them too much. Don't be afraid to experiment. And now we got some orange mixed clashing with that purple, and then this blue really fading that out. So that's my glazing technique with acrylic. So I hope you guys like this. I hope it you really enjoyed it and learned something. So if you did, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, comment, tell me what you learned or any other techniques that you know. Alright, thanks for watching. Peace.